over here too. This is so cool. There's so many people all over the place doing fun stuff. So, all right. Hey, speaking of people that are live and hanging out and doing cool stuff online, I got these two right here. Robert Courtney Collins, you may remember him from the world of Unique, UNEEK, and his lovely bride, Ashley Rose. They're joining me today on the MCC show to talk all about social media, talk about brand marketing. Listen, if you're in business, small, medium, big, doesn't matter. You already know how important social media is. And if you're looking to find a job or if you're looking for that next big thing, then your brand is what's gonna help you stand out. So we're gonna have you listen to what's going on. So come in, join the conversation with me a little bit. What's up, guys? How we doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm excited to see you both.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever interviewed a husband-wife team, so I'm kind of excited about that.
Little curveball.
A little curveball, yeah. You said, hey, I want to be on the show, and I got a surprise for you. I'm bringing my pretty wife on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of how they went too. And I was like, all right,
It's
that's
nice
cool.
that we have a relationship where I felt like I could slide that in.
You did too. You were like, I'm doing it. And I'm like, let me think about it. It's tight on set, but we'll figure out how to make it work. And
We
so
appreciate
here
it.
we are.
Yeah, we're good.
So you told me that you started listening to some of his advice for marketing, and it's helped your business grow. Are you the first wife that's ever actually listened to a husband? Is that a thing?
Possibly.
Possibly.
I was
Do you
about to say,
recommend it?
I don't know, you know.
Do you
I
listen
struggle
to?
in that area a little bit, but he,
I know a little bit about a few things.
How many times did you have to tell her what to do before she actually said, okay? Oh, you could tell by the response. She was like this. Don't even ask that question.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those.
You better go with one.
Yes. Yeah. It was a little bit of a process, but it's good for me because it helps me sharpen the reasons behind why you need to do the things that I say that you should do. So like when I meet business owners and people who are inquiring about using our services, you have to provide reasons. You have to give them testimonies. You have to give them examples. And so there's no business owner tougher than your wife, trust me. So it was one of those things where it was actually good for me.
All right, so let's go up a level.
Okay.
Tell us what you do, Ashley Rose, and what your world is, and then Robert, you tell us what you do and how those two commingle, and we'll go from there.
Sound good.
okay, so I work at VIP Salon and Spa in Riverview. I do extensions, I specialize in them, and I've been doing it for about 16 years. I got really into extensions after I had moved back from LA. I was working out there for 2 years and was trying to grow my hair out. And that's what got me into it, is on the level that I am. I love it. It's fun, instant gratification for the client. And that's it. So with the whole marketing thing, though, for me as a hairstylist, it's a struggle putting yourself out there because you're used to being behind the scenes so much. So it's so easy to just post all these beautiful girls and their hair. And to me, I didn't understand why that wasn't enough. And he kept telling me over and over again, you got to show you with extensions and put your face out there. And I fought him about it for a while, and a long while. And then finally pushed me, and we did our first video photo shoot. And after that, it just started booming even more than I was. So it was.
So you're busy now.
I want to say easy and quick. It was crazy. I never in a million years, not that I would think you're wrong, but it really did change the game for me.
So it was kind of like you talked about earlier, when someone comes in and gets extensions, it's like an instant change. They feel different, there's noticeable things that have happened, and it's a whole different confidence. You had the same kind of experience listening to him about how you were doing your branding and your marketing? And boom, business just picked up.
Yeah, so I do it more now. Now that I'm seeing it, I'm slipping in a lot more of me, and it's working, because I think that the audience really just wants to know who you are too. They do want to see your work, but they want to get your personality and know who they're,
Who they're
trusting.
going to spend that time with,
And
right?
trusting with their
How long
hair.
is an extension appointment? Is it an hour? Is it like
It
2?
depends on
Much longer.
I literally treat it like plastic surgery. So every single client is so different. Every head shape, where their hair is thicker or thinner. So I
It's an
customize it to
hour-long
their head.
consultation.
Okay.
Well, not an hour, but yeah, sometimes
With
it goes
her,
like
it's an
that.
hour long.
But well, it's very
supposed to be,
detail oriented, and
yeah.
you got to know their type of hair, what's going to work for them, because there's thousands of techniques out there, and not every technique works for every person. So
So I got this going on. What do we got here, man? We got
you know,
some.
we could do.
Look,
They do
how's
like the
my head shape?
microblading to fill it in up there and
Really?
give the appearance of it.
Okay.
Yeah, like they do
So
for
many
eyebrows.
things
Yeah,
out
there's
there.
so much
Oh
out
man,
there.
I didn't even
You don't
expect.
have to be.
I
You
didn't
don't
even
have
know.
to be bald no more.
You know,
No, I mean,
you
we
chose to
love
be
that.
bald, Terry Bean.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a huge industry, especially now more than ever.
Especially now more than ever. All right, we're going to talk more about that. You, what do you do, mister?
I am a brand strategist, was what I normally tell people. I run a company called Robert Courtney and Associates. It's a marketing and branding agency. We work with several businesses around the Metro Detroit area, starting to expand out a little more. But for the most part, we help businesses grow their online presence. And so that can mean a lot of different things. Usually, however, it means painting a better presentation of the brand over social media. And so there's so many strategies. Social media is changing every single day. And so we pride ourselves on just staying up to speed with the most current strategies and then teaching those businesses or managing those businesses' social media to make sure that they're taking advantage of those strategies.
So, I mean, in your instance, it's kind of like plastic surgery for you, too. It's not really a one-size-fits-all in that
No,
space.
it's not. It's funny when she was saying that. Like I've seen her do her consultations, and she really does treat it like surgery. And it's the same thing with us. It's like every detail matters, and it's a constant tweaking, like trial and error process, which the average person, the average business owner for sure, doesn't have the time to spend looking over their brand and making sure that they're posting at the right time, making sure they're using the right verbiage, making sure they're using the right picture, the right visual, all these different things that plays a part in whether or not your social media is successful. So that's really, we kind of take and treat it, we treat it like a surgery in terms of we're so detailed in trying to figure out if it's not working, why isn't it working? And let's get to the root of the issue and let's figure this thing out.
I have to cut in though and say it's really interesting because everything he's just said is 100% true, but going from doing it for a restaurant and then a gym and then I'm trying to think.
A hairstylist.
Hairstylist, yeah, real estate. There's so many different areas that he has to dissect. It just is incredible to me the way he's got a good strategy down. I'll say that because it's a lot to go into it.
I mean, there's some overlap, right? There's some core fundamentals, but for the
Right,
most part,
but
you got to tweak it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, that's what I tell, like, for example, it was interesting. I do an automotive dealership, and I went in and I met with, whenever you work with automotive, you typically work with 5, 6, 7 different kind of chain of commands, so you have like your president, your person over all the used car sales, your person over new car sales, your person over service, all these different people, right? So the main guy who brought me in introduced me to the guy that was going to be over me, so to speak. And he was like, I don't really know. He's not into automotive at all. He doesn't probably know that much about the business. So the guy says, well, do you want somebody that knows automotive or do you want somebody that knows social media? Which they've been a long time client now, but it kind of was like, he hit the nail on the head. At the end of the day, the social media strategy and the person that understands that language is always going to be more effective than the person that has the information about that specific industry, because a lot of the principles do, carry over to whatever market you're trying to reach.
And that's such a key thing, right? And it's best when they work really closely together. But it's so weird, especially in the dealership world or in other businesses. They're like, you don't understand my industry. You can't possibly do this. listen, man, I understand how to do what I'm doing.
Exactly.
You be the expert and do you, and let's figure out how to make this the best it can be.
Right, because
That's the hard time I would give him.
Yeah, right. Because you were like, you don't even have extensions, Robert.
Yeah.
What do you know
That's
about getting your
always-
hair
That's
done?
a
Did
perfect example,
It's
really.
always the feedback, but you know
Yeah.
what? Like, that's why social media has changed the game. Because it's not about your industry. It's about the market.
That's right.
It's about the consumer. I'm the consumer, so I'm actually probably in a better position to evaluate what you're doing than you are. You know, we're looking at it from two completely different
Great point.
perspectives.
That's a great
Yeah,
point.
because I'm like, Robert, none of my following is going up. Nothing's, it's not really that big. And he's like, but your engagement's high.
Yeah.
And
quality
I'm like,
over
I don't know what this means. Break it down. And
Yeah.
once he did, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I am doing something right. you
So
know?
maybe somebody out here in MCC Showland doesn't know what that means either. Why is it better to have high engagement than high numbers?
Let's take a step back. Everything that we do is based on our acronym ATTACK, right? So that's audience, trust, attention, content, and consistency, right? So if you use those 5 things, then it levels the entire playing field. Growing your audience is super important, right? And as all of that kind of flow together, it's about taking care of the other 4 things. When you are building trust and you're gaining people's attention, at the end of the day, like that's all you're attempting to do. So the size of the audience, if you're reaching 15% of a 1,000-person audience, and I'm reaching 1% of a 20,000 person audience or 10,000 person, we're essentially doing the exact same thing. So the engagement piece is about, are people responding to what you're saying? Are they asking questions? Are they looking? Are you getting the impressions? Is there leads coming? If you're talking to an audience that's quiet and silent and isn't responding to the information that you're presenting, then really at the end of the day, there can be no transactional value. Like you're not getting any emails, you're not getting anyone paying you anything, like nothing is happening from the content and the information that you're putting out.
You're describing my Twitter experience, right? Right now, I've got 8,000 people following me on Twitter.
Right.
I could tweet all day long and not
Right.
get a
No
single
activity.
response, man. It's
Yep.
like,
Yep.
what happened?
Yep.
And it's me, right? I left Twitter and I don't pay any attention, and I go there and I promote something every 3 days, 17 days,
Right, it's
whatever.
noise.
It's
It's-
me adding to the noise,
Yeah, it's
right?
just noise. It's
Because I'm not engaged, and that's what I've been telling people. You want more engagement,
You have to engage.
you have to be more engaged,
Right.
right?
It's super important. Like, honestly, probably 2-3 years ago, it was one of the things that I recognized I needed to start doing more, because you're never really thinking about the average person. Is never really thinking about how am I interacting with other people. They're only thinking about what am I putting out to the people,
Or
So,
how come people aren't interacting with me?
how come people aren't
So
responding
you
to
mean
what I'm
like
putting out?
responding to the comments and all that stuff?
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
I see
As a
that
matter of
more
fact-
now than I ever have.
As a matter of fact, just even on your own posts, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
super important when you do 2 things. When you post in your own comments, so like you put a picture out, and then after the picture, you follow up with context to the picture or the information that you put out there. So you make a blanket statement, that's maybe a one-liner, especially now since Facebook has created kind of like the Twitter thing where they'll allow your statement to be bold if it's within so many characters. That is the attention. Like, we're gonna grab your attention with this short, precise statement. And then in the comments, I'm gonna add context to the statement that I just made. And then hopefully within the comments, the conversation starts to happen. Now, that's gonna get people talking and responding, but the next level of that is you also tweak the algorithms. So not only do you give people more of a reason to jump into the conversation, you're going to get more activity because of Facebook algorithms by adding to the conversation.
Meaning like saying so-and-so commented on this. And,
Yeah, exactly. Facebook wants people to engage. Like that's the whole point of it. Like they want it to be social, right? So if you're in the comments you're more likely to increase organic activity for the post that you just created.
One thing that I've been messing around with both on Facebook and LinkedIn is going in and answering only some of the comments, right? So if there's 10 comments, I'll reply to 3 or 4 of them right now. I'll reply to 2 of them 6 hours from now. I'll reply to the other 3 tomorrow,
1000%.
right? Because
Yep.
that keeps pushing it right back to the top.
You just taught me something.
Exactly.
See?
Yep.
See, well,
See, I
he
feel
was going to
bad.
teach you that tomorrow.
Yeah, but I would feel
That you
bad,
just
like,
didn't get that.
Because am I gonna hurt the other people's feelings? Like that's where my
Yep. Strategy. Strategy.
It is,
I
it
just-
is, that part is tough, right? You're like, oh man, do they even notice that I just responded to these 3 and then
Yeah.
left them hanging, right?
How about-
It's like Tom Brady walking around
Yeah.
trying to high five somebody.
Exactly. How about this? How about going back to a post that was really popular for you from 6 months ago, from 8 months ago, from a year ago, or when the memories pop up in your news feed, jumping into those comments
Yeah.
and reactivating those. Facebook gives a lot of priority to that, so that's another
The memories thing
cool
is
little strategy.
great. That's actually, of
I
all
love it.
social media, that's my favorite single function, aside from promoting events, I suppose.
Right.
On all the tools, right?
Why do you think that is?
Why do I think it's my favorite, or why?
No, it's a lot of people's favorites.
For me,
Well,
it's like a diary, man. It's like I get to go back and relive some of those things because let's face it, most of the time we're capturing the highlights, occasionally the lowlights,
Yeah.
but there's always something tied to it. So it being called memories as opposed to on this day, which
Right.
it was also called at
Yeah.
one point,
Right.
is so fitting. It's
Right.
like, yes, I love this stuff.
But see, that's the secret sauce. Like, that's the piece that I'm constantly explaining to people. All you're doing over all social media is telling your story. Like you're documenting your personal journey from wherever you are at that moment to wherever it is that you're attempting to go, right? The most popular book in the world is a collection of stories, right? Talking about the Bible.
Yeah, sure.
And all we're really doing is
I think it was Chaucer's Tales for half
Yeah.
a minute, but I was like, oh, no.
just in case some of the people out there didn't know what I was referring to, but at the end of the day, we're documenting stories that our kids' and our, their kids are going to be able to possibly look at and relive and understand. I only can imagine what my grandfather's life was like, or even my dad's life was like. They'll be able to literally watch, how we built our businesses, the things we did, the foods we enjoyed, the people we like. They'll be able to watch those things, which is a really cool thought to me.
So there's a business model right there, right? What if you created the company that allowed all of those imports of memories to be passed down generation to generation to
Yeah,
generation?
that is a good idea.
Right? That's somebody get on that.
Yeah,
People.
yeah,
Let's go.
There you go.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So, other people in your salon. You said you'd like 60 people in your salon,
Yeah.
so it's big, right?
It
It's
is.
like big. Are they seeing what you're doing? Are they going, how are you doing that? Are they asking questions? Are they, what's going on?
Well, when I decided to really go full throttle, I offered the opportunity for any of the women there that wanted to learn them to do it as a team together because I'm all about empowering women.
Sure.
So if I can, double my income by doing extensions, why can't I do that for other women that I work with, So some people chose to, some people didn't, simply just because it's an art. Some people just better at color and want to stick with color, or better at cutting, so they stick to cutting. So some people joined the team on it and some people didn't, and it was okay, It's a big family. For as many, it's all women. So if you think about it, like 60 women in one salon, for them, it's pretty unbelievable how close and good it is,
makes
It's a good
sense.
family and a good leader, My boss is Renee Bowerway. She's awesome. So.
It would have to have, right? Because otherwise, I mean, it could just go
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah,
sideways.
she's very strategic and good with what she does. So she lets us spread our wings and fly and be the best that we can be and do what we want to do with that.
That's awesome.
It is, so it's
How'd you find them? Or they find you?
Well, I found her. I was 19 at the time, and I just came back from Ann Arbor doing hair, and I just knew that salon was kind of going down. So I was just super young and didn't really, know how all that worked. But I just wrote her an essay and just wrote her a letter about my
Hand roll.
hand wrote.
Old school, baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, okay, so I'll back up. So I hand wrote her this essay of just my love for hair and my life story. and gave it to her. And then the next day she called me in and she sat down a stack this thick, I'm not even kidding you, of applications. But I was the only one that hadn't wrote one to her. And she's like, there's no spots here for you, but we're making one. Like, so I got hired. It was awesome.
That is cool.
She's been an awesome mentor, so.
So, I mean, let's bring this back around to social media, because that is about as authentic
Yes.
as it gets, right? And
100%.
so
Yeah.
when we're talking about why it's important for you to be on video and for you to be in front of your audience, it's because they can figure out who you are and how to relate with you.
Yes.
That's how you attract people, right?
Yes.
100%. I think her biggest hang up was, like she said, just not really understanding the fact that people want to build relationships now on social. They want to build a relationship with the person that they're thinking about doing business with, you know? And so when you're posting content of yourself, of your family, of your day-to-day activities, it's almost like, even though they're never talking to you, you know, they may never physically see you, they feel like they're building a relationship with you online, you know, which sometimes those touch points is a little more, but the consistency of that often leads to lifelong clients. Once
Oh,
they do
yeah.
come in and then you deliver on what their expectations were, then now it's like you probably got a client for life, you know, unless something really, really major happens. So I always tell, like, business owners sometimes fear or don't understand that social media isn't a traditional sales process like direct mail or just making phone calls. Those conversions typically happen extremely quick. You know, whereas social is a little longer of a process. But my thing is, do you want a sale that happened and you never see that person again? Or do you want to brand and then create a customer that you don't have to figure out a way to get that customer back? Like, he's gonna be your customer and he's gonna turn into a brand ambassador for you, where he's going to go out and share his experience and why they should come and do business with you, which is so much more effective.
Yeah.
It's amazing, the difference between me standing here and telling you how great I am and one of your friends standing there telling you how great I am.
Two completely
right?
different places.
Thank you for that line, Charlie Wahlberg. Speaking of, you know, it's interesting to me. That's such a powerful thing, that third-party endorsement. How do you leverage that on social media? How do you get people to stand up and talk about what you've done so other people go, I gotta check that out?
Right. Well, I think it's always to me about removing the I, like taking yourself out of the equation and then thinking about what is it that I can do for my audience or the person that I'm trying to serve, so to speak. You know, so when you rewire your brain for everything that you put out to be about how you're bringing value to the audience that you're talking to, then I think it becomes really easy. But you know, we're naturally kind of just selfish, you know, genetically. So
Men, I'm just kidding.
men,
Teasing, I'm joking.
yeah,
No, she's met us, it's cool.
yeah, no, I mean, it's the
I'm
truth though.
joking.
It's the truth. It's the truth, and it's discipline. It's not easy rewiring
is
to put yourself into that space where it's like, what can I give? And a lot of times, like, especially if you're an 80s baby, probably, or beyond, it's like, if it's free or if you're giving something away, it's not going to be a valuable thing. Like, you're going to get something cheap, you're going to get something that wasn't worth it, or it's too good to be true type of mentality. And now I think the most important thing you can do is offer value for nothing, at least through your social media channels, and then that will attract the type of people that you're looking for. And when you deliver on what you said you can do for them, then they're going to turn into advocates for your product or your service.
Do you film people that talk about how great you are? Do you ask them to write recommendations? How do you capture that information?
You know what? Me personally, I know a lot of people that do. Me personally, I don't. Probably just because to me it's weird. Like, asking,
Right.
can you
Yeah,
say
it
something
could-
great about me? Even when the LinkedIn,
Well, you're too
when
humble
when
for
the
that.
LinkedIn automated recommendations happen where it kind of just sends it out, like you didn't send it, it sends it on its own. Like, that's even weird to me. It's necessary, you know. You need people to kind of speak to why, you know, you delivered or why what you provided helped them. But for me to personally ask, now I will say, like, I do offer like free consultations where people call. I give people 15 to 30 minutes to call in, or for us to have a phone conversation. And my fee for that is that if my information that I gave you help you, then go leave comments on my Facebook page. So that's usually how I start that conversation. Then it's like the pressure's on. If I provide value, then maybe they'll be inclined to go and leave, some comments on my page. But if not, no harm, no foul. Like, it was free for you. I enjoyed the conversation, and everybody win.
Well, because it sharpens your saw too. Every time you have a business conversation, you're going to learn some stuff and think differently that you may be able to take and apply somewhere else.
100%. And you learn about a new industry. Like she said, like we navigate through so many different industries: automotive, real estate, hospitality, beauty, and it's important for me to have conversations and test our theories against all these different markets to make sure that the strategies work.
It's cool because you can apply them, right? You can take something that's great over here, try something this way that they've never seen before, right?
Exactly.
Back to that automotive thing. Listen, man, you ever look at the Sunday paper? All those ads look the same for a reason,
100%.
right? You're doing it the wrong way.
100%.
You're doing it the wrong way.
Come see me.
Yeah, right? For
Yeah,
real.
but how you were saying about people leaving reviews about them, though, but I think it's more of the impression that you leave. Like, you really, Jackie is like the perfect person, I think, to bring up. Like, you changed, you helped change her life. Like, she always was talking and telling her stories, but she brought it to life on social media. And she's amazing at it. But like you were like with the workshop, it all
we pushed her
started
to
there.
do it, yeah.
But it's your impressions that you leave on people, that where people will leave the positive feedback on it.
She's talking about a individual who was doing
Amazing.
network. She does network marketing for a company called Color Street, and I went out and did a seminar or a workshop for probably about 100 ladies that came out to that
more,
event,
I
maybe
think.
more. And Jackie, the person that initially reached out to me, was the one that really wanted to grow her social media presence, and it was just they didn't really understand social at all. Like, the company as a whole didn't really understand it, so they wanted to bring somebody in that can kind of show them how to use it properly. And Jackie, even though she was the person that brought us in, she was the main one that really was like, listen, I want a consultation, I want to work with you, I need you to coach me. And her discipline was through the roof. I gave her like very detailed direction, and her ability to tell stories was phenomenal. And she would tell them just talking to me. Like, sometimes she would leave me voice memos, and I would just listen to her talk about how she ran into this person, and she showed them what she was offering, and they were so excited. I'm like, okay, everything that you're saying, you need to type it out or even record it in a video form. Like, you need to share it this way on your platforms. And she took the bull by the horn, and like, we watched her organic activity just go from crickets to like now every time she posts something, it's 150, 200 likes. It's just, and it's
she was
really
a
cool
teacher
stories.
That's not
It's
a
really
teacher
cool
anymore.
stories.
She doesn't have to teach because she's Color Streeting it up.
Yeah, she don't even need me. Like, I haven't,
She-
Jackie,
no.
where are you at? Like, I haven't talked to you in forever.
I get to see her still at the salon. She's perfect.
Yeah,
Busy,
no,
she can't get too
perfect.
much butt to
She's
deal with you
kicking-
anymore.
She's kicking butts, winning awards.
But she's a good one to, bring up on that. 'Cause it's such a,
That's a great
she's
story.
phenomenal.
That's a great story. So you brought up a couple of things, right? You said you got to write up that story, right? And then you said, or capture it on video.
Right.
So like the pantheon of a written post, a post with an image, and a post with video. Where are we in 2019? What's important and what's relevant?
That's a great question. I always say that you should pivot back to the thing that you do the best. So I believe it's important. If you feel like you take great photos, if you feel like you're really good on camera, or if you feel like you have ability to write well, whatever it is that you feel that you're the most talented at, I think you should focus on that. And then maybe sprinkle in some of the other things. Video marketing, just in terms of what the marketplace is probably catering to most, is probably video. And that's really started to rise over like the last couple years, especially with the ability to be able to capture it as easily as you can now. The quality of the phone cameras, and it's not that much production. Like, you don't have to worry about full setups like this, and people aren't knocking you for it looking a certain way. You can do a selfie in your bathroom, and if you deliver good content and value, that has the ability to go viral just like any other video that's, a $10,000, $20,000 production, So I think video in terms of the market is probably the most popular, but I would tell an individual to do what you're most talented at and let your audience define itself.
Now, is that because they're more likely to do it if they're more comfortable doing it? So it's really just
It's gonna be
advice
more
on get it
authentic.
done?
It's going to be more authentic.
Okay.
I just think you're going to deliver your most authentic self doing the thing that you're most comfortable with.
That makes good sense. So, do you video? Do you write? Do you photo? What do you do mostly?
Pictures. We just started the video a couple times in the last, year or so, I'd say. That's out of my comfort zone that I'm ready to conquer this year
Okay.
and do more of. It's
Did
really.
you see the video going on over there?
Yeah.
You knew that?
Start-
How's that
Yeah.
working for you?
Well, I'm getting more comfortable every time.
Is this part of the Scared Straight program? Is that why you brought it in?
See?
Oh,
No, I was
shit, I see what
so-
happened now.
Yeah.
Look at that, you just got roped into being
Yeah.
on video.
Yeah.
So,
And you're doing great, by the way.
thank you.
What, right, she's doing great?
Inside I feel nervous, but
Yeah, you a little nervous still?
not as much.
Not
no.
as much.
Everybody needs a little push in
Yeah.
the direction.
But you know what, a lot of it too is, I think more so maybe for women, but we always have that thought in the back of our head, well, if I post too much about myself, they're gonna think I'm full of myself or this or that. And he's like, get over it, Ashley, just get over it. And I haven't, at least to my face, I haven't had anything like that experience. So I do agree with him. I mean, just do what you're good at and
It's literally every client.
stop worrying about that,
Every client is thinking
they're so
the exact
worried
same
about what
thing.
other people are thinking
Every
about.
person is,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And
Yeah.
so you won't know you're doing really well until you get a bunch of negative comments, right?
Exactly.
Until you get the haters showing up on your feed.
Exactly.
Then
Then you know
you
you're
know
doing something right.
That's when you're
Well,
like,
I mean,
oh,
yeah,
good,
they
success.
do have
Yeah.
it
It's
sometimes.
you know what? It's a happy medium between being in a bubble where nobody opinion really matters, and also recognizing that those opinions are there and engaging and providing answers and responses. Like, if you can find that perfect happy medium, you'll do phenomenal, on social.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to not feel, those remarks and not let those remarks kind of shape your direction. Like, some people are afraid to post certain things, or they put out a picture and it makes them feel insecure or whatever the case may be, and it's just like, those are your negative thoughts kind of being imposed on yourself. Like, you have to get out of your own head, and allow, again, the market to decide whether it's good or not.
I think a lot of us have hundreds of voices inside of our head in any
Yes.
given day, right?
Yes.
And if you got 100, let's say that 57 of them are there just to stop you and
Yes.
mess you up and take you off track.
Right.
Right. So now you got to figure out, okay, I got to shut all those up.
Right.
I got to listen to these 7 that are telling me the things I need to do.
Yep.
Right. And then the 5 that are like, stay humble. Right.
Right.
Keep doing the things you got to do. Stay
Right.
focused. Right. And you gotta. It's a weird how
Yeah,
you channel that out.
I think it's super, to me, what kind of redirected my thought process was when I started to really hone in on, just being self-aware, just for myself. It's really the voices in your head are the voices from past experiences, people that you've dealt with, people that you've talked to, people that have said negative things to you. None of those are you. All of that is outside input that's just rolling around in there, so shutting that noise down in your mind is probably the biggest hurdle, and if you can get past that hurdle, then I think life actually changed for most people.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I say, yeah, he helped me with that, because if a thought popped up, it's visualize I'm throwing it in the trash can, out in the dumpster, it's gone, and it was just repetitive, and then it does.
Yeah, it's you have to create that muscle, you have to create
Yeah,
that
it's huge.
ability to be able to just,
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
sure it's hard
that
for
way.
men, but for women too, I feel with our, to stick together and really just try to pump each other up, you know? But then when you said like focus on what you're best at, when I think of extensions, like I'm all about women empowerment, and I want women to feel the most beautiful and sexy that they can, because I don't care if you're a grandmother, I don't care if you're a mother of 5 kids or just fur baby mom or whatever your situation is. You deserve to feel sexy and beautiful, and I want to see that. So knowing that that's my strong point, you've taught me that, like, you know, I'll take it and run with it and just show people you can be a mom, you can work your butt off, you can be all these things, and you just be you, and they want to see that, you know? My question for you is, though, which I know a lot of people have in for you, when, I think maybe more so for women this is an issue, but you know, you get into funks where you're like so busy with the kids and stuff going on. Like, you know, when I had that week of my root canal and I got sick, all this stuff, I didn't post that week. And I realized, okay, chunks of time go. To keep yourself disciplined and consistent is a key struggle, I think, for a lot of us.
The last letter of attack, consistency. It's the game. No, I'm just saying, like, I'm agreeing with you.
Right, I know.
So you're saying, what do you do in that time?
Right, like,
there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, there's no way you can anticipate life happening because, you know, you didn't know that you're going to have a root canal. You didn't know all these things are going to happen. But in the event those times do happen where you have that lapse, I think that's a great opportunity to come back and give people real life reasons why I missed a week of posting. Like, life happened. I had a root canal. You know, I had the kids, and you'd be surprised how relatable that is. And that's really what you're trying to do. Like, social media, people flock to people that they can relate to.
Yeah.
You know, and you're going to get so much more activity and engagement when the information you share, the content that you post, is relatable to the person that's reading it. So if I'm off for 6-7 days and it was like legitimate reasons, I'm going to probably go into a whole long spiel about heartfelt responses about why you haven't seen me post lately. And then I think that ends up, it's almost like you go away to set up yourself for this nice, huge, not that that's the plan, but it creates a much bigger reception, the fact that now you're back, you're stronger, you're healthy, and you're ready to get consistent again.
right, because that's a huge question I hear clients ask, even me with their businesses, you know, and I'm just like, I deal with the same things, so I
Right.
couldn't, you
Yeah,
know.
everybody deals with it.
So I hear that question. I think about a couple of different things, and I love what you said because that's a great way to tie it back in and get back into it. But I look at it the same way you look at exercise, right? Never miss a Monday, right? As a rule, right?
Yeah.
Never go 3 days without going to work out. That's a rule, right?
Right.
And you can always start again tomorrow.
Right.
Right? So keep that in mind, so that keeps that consistency going.
Yeah.
The fourth thing reminded me of when you were talking about it was always do your best, which is the fourth agreement in Don Miguel Ruiz's awesome book, The Four Agreements. And it states very plainly that your best is going to change year by year, day by day, minute by minute, right? You could be sick as a dog, but you could just post, man, I am so sick, I'm dying,
Yeah.
right? Somebody sent me some soup. And that's better a lot of times than nothing.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of, hey, I'm going to post and get sympathy, or I'm going to veg book and get a bunch of people going, what's wrong? I don't,
right,
yeah, I can't, I don't deal with that.
Yeah.
Right.
But you could still share something,
Right.
to Robert's point, about that's relatable, because we've all been sick. We've
Yeah.
all been taken out. I had the weirdest day ever yesterday, and I was like, I'm going to post a Dear Diary Doogie Howser type of post, right? I was like, I never got around to it. I may still do it today. There's still time. But
Right.
it was just like, life happens, and it does. It gets in the
does.
way, and it happens to all of us. But if we know that we can start again tomorrow,
Right.
we're cool.
Right. Just not letting yourself get down about the fact that you kind of broke your streak of posting, and then
Yeah.
if one day turns into 2 days, and then 2 days turns into a week, and the next thing you know, it's like ghost town. You know, so I think that's the important thing. Like you said, not letting too much time lapse, and then recognizing that tomorrow's a new day.
That's right.
You know, tomorrow's an opportunity for a new start. And I mean, people start new pages every single day. You know,
Yeah.
so.
Well, and I think that's an important piece, right? We're human. To err is human.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, it really, on the grand scale of things, just ain't that big a deal.
Yeah, it's not that big.
It's right. We take things way too seriously.
Yeah.
And this is I mean, this is important, right?
Yeah.
But it can be urgent, but it certainly ain't both.
Right.
Right.
And
Ever.
I think it's important to speak about, kind of off subject, but not really, but just something that we talked about on the way here, which was that a lot of people feel like their current business is doing well, and they don't necessarily need social media. They work by word of mouth or whatever traditional form of advertisement they've used for the last however many years. And we just were talking about how just being aware of the fact that if you do plan on being in business for, say, the next 10 years or the next 20 years, it might be something to think about. Not that you need to put pressure on yourself to post every single day, but to at least start to create some type of online presence, because at some point, the only way a referral or somebody who tells somebody about your business, the only way they're going to be able to go and see your work or find out about how good you are is by going somewhere online.
Yeah.
So if you don't have some type of representation of who you are, what your service is, what your product is, available online where you can send them, then you're going to eventually probably get to a point to where you'll probably have to do something different because that pipeline runs dry.
Exactly.
It's a credibility check, right?
Yes.
You
Yes.
find out about somebody, you're going to go look at their online presence and see who they are and what they do and who they purport to and whether they got some reviews or some recommendations.
Exactly.
You're going to look at that stuff
Exactly.
and you're going to make decisions based on that.
It's happening more and more. I remember just a
Right.
couple years ago, people didn't take reviews seriously. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. And now, just fast forward 24 short months later, everybody, I read their reviews online, their reviews are really good. Everything is based on the opinions of others, essentially. So how much more is that going to change 2 years from now? So
That's awesome.
I really just encourage people, even if business is good and you got a great network and referrals are great, at least create some type of personal brand, some type of online portfolio, something that people can go and reference what you do, your service, especially for solopreneurs, obviously. It's very important. And as business owners begin to realize how important it is for their companies to have it, it's going to make it harder and harder to get organic activity and traction, because more owners are going to be willing to pay, which means you have to go get ads, which is a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, start now.
Start now.
Start again tomorrow.
Yes.
So we got to work toward wrapping up. What's if you said, man, I only got 1 minute to give you a tip on how to rock on social media, what would it be? And I'll ask both of you because you're learning stuff, right? And then, we'll see how it goes.
Let you go first.
No, you go
Let me go
first.
first. My thing would be, at least, like right now, today, if someone asked me and I said you need to go do something, have a Facebook page, and an Instagram page. I know you'll probably say LinkedIn, but Instagram is the fastest growing platform right now, and it gives you the absolute most organic activity of any platform. So I would say have an Instagram, have a Facebook, make sure they're connected, and then just document your story. If you're confused, you're not sure what I should put out there, at the very least, tell your personal story, treat it like a journal, document your daily activity, regardless of what that is, and let it organically grow until you can start to leverage that audience and use it for whatever product or service you're going to put out there.
Cool. Love it.
Yep, so mine would be just follow your heart and do everything authentically. Just don't let those negative thoughts get the best of you. I don't care if it's been a week, 2 weeks, a day. Just post whatever comes from your heart. Find your purpose, like you said, and stop caring about what everyone else thinks, because it's going to end up way better than you could imagine. And I wish I would have listened to you sooner.
I love both
I
of
do.
those. Both of those. I'm going to have to do an Instagram story here shortly.
There you go.
All right, so how do people find you too? Where do they look for you? Where do they get connected?
You can find me on Instagram at Robert Courtney Collins, Facebook, Facebook.com/Robert Courtney Collins, website, RobertCourtneyAndAssociates.com, and if you want to, if you're having trouble with that, you can always just Google Robert Courtney Collins. I'm all over the place now, finally. You can Google my name finally.
Your son loves doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine Instagram, Rose Capelli, and then on Facebook, Rose Capelli or Ashley Rose.
You might want to spell Rose Capelli.
Well, ROSCCAPELLI.
Very good, very good. All right, well, this is Robert Courtney Collins. This is Ashley Rose. We've had a fantastic time. I hope you've enjoyed it too. I look forward to seeing you all real soon.